We don't know it's recorded.
More real life information.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming tonight. Right, so I'm Anthony. I'm the specialist covering the region. Right, so I have with me some of my colleagues. I think sitting behind you see Dinesh, Ben, Kaho, a lot of people. Right, Chuck, Derek, and of course my co-speaker is going to be Jean. Right, he's going to walk us through some of the demonstrations that we didn't manage to do last round. So this time around, we are really going to just very quickly go through what we did talk about last session, and then we'll go into the next portion of which we are going to make use of Cogito, right, which is something like a decision manager that we can add in front of the Ansible event-driven portion to try to do more use cases. Essentially, what's going on is that it will make more intelligent decisions. We are talking about decision and rule-based way of doing automation, right? So I'm just going to very quickly go through some of the slides that we already spoke about previously, right? And then we'll talk about the rule-based way of doing things, and after which we'll go into a very quick hands-on session, right? So it's something that you can just try it out and you can have a feel of how event-driven Ansible works. Right, so we mentioned previously as well that the event-driven Ansible is the next level of automation. So we do believe that other than the usual ones that we are typically doing, can be things like patch management, hardening, can be provisioning of virtual machines, or managing Kubernetes events, right? So those kind of stuff we have, right? But of course, when we talk about next level, where we talk about things like being able to do automation and to fix problems, for instance, right? That is when the event-driven automation on Ansible actually comes useful, right? So the next slide that we have is the high level on how it can look like. So we have different event sources. Some of those that we have certifications with can be things like Dynatrace, right? App Dynamics, Prometheus, for instance. You can go through a message layer, right? In this case, Kafka, and after which we have event-driven Ansible that will then look at the message that's coming in. It's basically listening to events and performing an action after which. So in this case, we have what we call as a rulebook. It's slightly different from the usual playbook that Ansible has. We will take a look at how the rulebook will look like. But essentially what's going on is just trying to figure out what to do next, and you will call the corresponding playbook to perform the action that's required. So this is a very quick overview, right, on the rulebooks, which we went through previously as well. You can see over here that these are some of the sources. Where is it listening on? This is the alert manager. You have the rules. What are we trying to achieve here? We are trying to do a restart of the web server, right, where we see a certain job label, right, in this case. And it will just run the corresponding playbook accordingly and perform the required actions based on the events that it has received. So this is in a nutshell what this is doing. So then in this slide, it's talking about rulebook versus playbooks. What is going on really is that we are waiting for an event. So the event will get triggered from the sources. Once it comes in, we will decide what to do, right? The action itself is being performed by the Ansible playbook. So that is kind of how the rulebook plus the playbook together with the event sources all comes together. Right, we touched on this last session as well. Just quickly going through all this again. And these are some of the event source plugins as well as integrations that is available today, and some of those that is coming in the roadmap. Right, so you know, for instance, things like the generic webhooks, the Kafka, right? So those are stuff that we are able to do as of now. Right, the other things which is in the roadmap. You know, things like Dynatrace, Splunk, for instance, the AWS event bridge. So those are things that is going to come, and we will be able to have more and more integrations with different event sources in the very near future. The whole idea really is to make sure that you know, we have that ecosystem that is there in order to be able to do as much automation as possible. Over here, this is just a one slide summary, I would say, right? Just on what we have when it comes to event-driven Ansible. Right now, with the AAP 2.3 release, it is in a dev review. So you are able to just leverage on this. If you want to, you can just install this and work on it yourself. The quick hands-on lab later on will allow you to try this out as well, right? So just play around with it and see what you think of it. Let us know as well, right? I think that is my, sorry. Last slide, right? I think. Yeah. I'll hand over to Jing for the rest of the session, and then we'll go into the lab.
Welcome. Now it's my time. Welcome to our office. Thank you for spend time after office hours. Still come to meet with us. So I want to talk about is the rule-based plus event-driven. Some people ask me why need the rule-based. So quite simple. For event-driven, like for me, sounds like the instant reaction. This event coming, I need to do something. Sometimes this is not really true. In some use case, sometimes you tell me some information, I say, let me take time, think about it. I adding the role base behind is for let me think about it. This is my general purpose, making it suitable for more complicated case, extend a bit. Today, this is the agenda. So we first thing we have a demo case introduction. Second is the solution. What is workflow? For that was the demo case. Then is the demo event driven. This event happen. These two all is event driven. See, this event driven. How behind both event driven and the role based, how they integrate together, what they look like. After that is the this one is the in order make you this one is we try to approximately simple. Let it get with some idea. This one little bit complicated. Okay, the next one is that we still go back to the real world. This one is show the from technical perspective, show how they integrate together is possible. We can do. This one we want to talk about it is the what use case, which kind of use case really need was the role based. It's not all the use. This one cannot. This is not a silver bullet can shoot all the case. Let's see which kind of case should go for over the role base plus event driven Ansible plus together. The last one, the potential use case. Yeah, I will talk about it a little about potential the use case, and then we are adding some more, give some more meaningful use case, have some the business background. So this is today's agenda. Okay, before it, let me start my little lab. Save time. Later, can direct go it. This one is for the event driven, and this one is this one is for the event. We're using behind it. We're using Kafka event queue. Coquito is for the rule base. Okay, let it start behind. I will continue. Okay, you can see this map. Each node A, B, C, D is the city or some place. So here is a one roadmap. What we want to do is we need from J to K. We find some path. This path is a lower cost. Between these two city or two place have a one have the digit to represent if from A travel to B, what is the cost? This cost it can change. For example, traffic jam, some traffic accident, always road construction. This kind of happen will cause this cost high. you may not want to go to it anymore. So this one, it will help you to find a new path if this kind of things happen. Second is this is cost change. Second, maybe from the some place C to B, they have a new road build up. You can use it. So if a new road build up, what's a path your choice from J to K? So this is the one demo we want to show you. This how we're using role-based plus the event-driven to solve this such kind of problem. This one is is a need sync. That this one to here, now changes happens. What's the new role you want to select it with the no case? So let me think about it. This is what I want to add it. So this is the solution. So for this one, is the first step is some change in some changes happen. Or here is some cost, some node-to-node cost change, or some new path have now available. So this is new event. This event will put into the Kafka event queue. This put in Kafka queue. So the second step on the other end, in the Kafka queue consumer side, we have a robot is listening. 24 hours, always listening it. He find this a new network event. Once he found it, he go to tree. He will call the analyze playbook here. Analyze playbook will trigger the role engine. Behind the role engine here, we're using the Cogito role-based system. So role-based system get this new information, help you select, think well, select the what is the latest, what is the noise path, and feedback to the Ansible playbook. Ansible playbook put this information to the Kafka event queue. Kafka event queue other side is 7. So other side the Ansible rulebook is listening to it. He find have some the recommend latest path coming. So he take some related action. So maybe advice to the user. This is the currently this is the no cost path, or do some configuration and so on. So this is generally is the event plus role base. We're using the Kafka event queue, link all of them together.
Can check, right? Why not the Ansible playbook and the rulebook merge together as one? Can that in two modules?
Because this event you have quite a lot, so I need him to quick response. If all switch together, they may was a delay your response. So it's better when you find the event, you let other playbook to handle it. Instead of he doing it, I need was making task as light as possible. I need was keep this immediate or related to playbook to handle different case.
Maybe another way to look at it is that this is different, right? So that is doing the action, whereas the rulebook is trying to figure out what are the criteria, as well as based on the criteria we decide what actions to take. So we usually will have it more like a modular way of doing it.
So for him is his main purpose is listening, find the event, trigger correct playbook to handle this event. I don't need himself to handle it. This is the main task.
Maybe to add on, I mean, if you look at the playbook structuring, right? If you look at how the playbook is structured, right? If you were to execute each task, and then it is waiting for a particular event to be triggered, then how about the rest of it? So probably if you take each rulebook as a separate event sort, for example, right, then it's going to scale better instead of then the event will be triggering the playbook instead of the playbook waiting for the event.
And also because Ansible itself is really push, right? So we are a bit different when it comes to playbook. It's more of trying to push it, facilitate it down. Whereas this one is constantly picking up, listening. It's quite different in terms of the behavior.
Yeah.
Can you please explain this with the real world, like IT examples, or maybe it will come later?
IT can. For example, this one is not was the event, it's the incident. Incident data. So incident is coming here. They find the incident.
Right.
So here the incident. The problem is when the incident happens. Some case is some is a simple case. Some is a case they don't need to think about it. they can directly make a decision, what should we do?
Okay.
But the problem is that, do you notice that when incident happen, it's individual information. You don't have some related information.
Right.
If complicated use cases, then maybe need troubleshooting, analyze it first before you take action. So behind this is the rule book is coming. So maybe they need to know your instance only piece information, maybe it's a piece of information. They need to think about it. What should I take action? So this one help you to, this role base help you to store, record your human knowledge for troubleshooting. Then after this simulated human thinking, they make the decision, what is next? Then they go back, make the decision. From here, go back, make the decision. What should we do?
But that is still manual, right? I mean,
Which
that
part?
needs to be reiterated. The complexity that you were referring to, right?
This one is you mean the knowledge part.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one is that's one we need because knowledge itself is quite complicated enough. So we need to separate tools to handle it.
Mm.
The current problem is where knowledge combined with program together. So don't have a separate place to manage your knowledge.
That's where rule book comes in.
Correct. So this rule book is coming. Another is they separate your program and your knowledge. So knowledge you can accumulate it, increment it, but you don't need affect the rest of your playbook is keep the same. You don't need coding knowledge. You only contribute your knowledge to this one. So he can accumulate it, easily grow it, then will not affect others.
Show the last slide of it, because since we are really talking about this, we have looked at
Which one?
the all the way to the back. The whole thing.
Oh, okay.
It's easier rather than maybe, I mean, we were thinking of doing this later on as well, but since you're asking about this, right, we might as well just talk about potential use cases, right? So hypothetically, let's say we are facing an issue whereby the user is overseas and unable to make a phone call. Like that can be one of those things. So what Jing mentioned earlier around all the different possibilities, we can see it as, for instance, like A, B, C, and D, right? So let's say all these things are related to each other, right? It can be the weight that is given could be 1, 1, and 1, right? So we will be coming from here, our final destination is here. So there can be different paths that we can reach this particular area, right? So you talk about crisscross or you talk about some other stuff. So where we are saying that is that the event itself, right? In this case, it's saying that I'm overseas. I'm not able to make a roaming phone call. So this event is then being sent and picked up by, let's say, a telco service provider. It sends to the queue, just like what we saw just now with the flow itself. The rulebook will pick it up, and then it calls a playbook to go to things like Cogito to do the analysis, because we are trying to figure out what may be the possible reasons for causing the problem. So in this case, we are saying that, hey, is it because of a network coverage issue? Let's say this is being seen by B, right? So we say that no, it's actually not a coverage issue. We know that the coverage is good. So then we are going to change the weight for this. We change it to 9. So this is the path that will not happen. Go ahead.
Here, this weight is mean the possibility. So if no, what is more likely is this reason. It's higher, that means no is no. As I was saying, he already checked it. It's not this issue. So this increase to 9. Then when he look at the noise path, that's usually most likely the reason. This is the first step check. After this first step check, this is the most next possible reason. He 1 to 1. Yeah.
So then, of course, maybe we say that is it like a user issue? If the user did something stupid or not following the instructions? No. So we add the weight as well. So just like what Jim mentioned, so then we have eliminated some of the paths. So these are some of the things that we call as, let's say, tribal knowledge, right? So these are things that, based on my experience working as an operator, I know that these are the few possible reasons. So then what can it be, right? Is it some other paths that can happen? This is the case whereby we now add a new possibility, right? So let's say now we have A, B, C, D, E, and E, right? A, B, C, D, right? So now we have another path called E. right? So E could be a possible path that can be there. So in this case, perhaps the roaming profile is not enabled for the particular user, and that's why he's not able to roam. Right? And then this could be the final reason on why you're not able to roam, right? So then this could be something like what Jing mentioned earlier. This can then be something that's added to your possibilities. So then this will all automatically come together into new sets of rules. This is ever increasing and changing over time. So where we are coming from is that with the event and the rule-based way of doing things, now you have a way to do decisions and make decisions based on the rule books. We can then decide what we want to do. In this case, if this is the case, we will call a playbook that can fix the roaming profile if the guy decides to pay the money, right?
You notice just now Anthony saying that here, this one initially is not there. So that's why we need a separate playbook place to manage knowledge. So this one is maybe after the brainstorming, this may be the cost. So we can later I show you how to add this in. So we can add in this new path in. Then this is new knowledge. With your time, have more and more ideas flowing. This one can become more comprehensive and completed for troubleshooting. That's why we need a separate playbook place to manage your knowledge. Yeah.
Is there any relationship between events and the rule book?
Events and the
rule books.
So
yeah, it
rule
will be
book,
related. Right? Because
I mean, there's a predefined template or it follow any template. So it can process any event or only identified or predefined events.
it will be dependent on what kind of events, right? So for instance, in this case, we will have a certain criteria for that particular kind of event. So when I see this particular signature, I will look into my existing database and can I add on and enhance it, right? So that will be how that thing will be kind of being done.
Actually, generally, they can listen to any event. But the problem is I have two kind of event. One event you already know, this event happened, I need to take some action. That is some maybe some simple one. So this is directly, this event happened, I know how to identify this event. I know what is the response to this event. Some event coming, you don't know. Like this, just know like this one. This is a little complicated one. So this one, this event, for example, this changes happen. To affect you or not? I don't know. Did this change happen? If I select a path, you go through this way. This one even happen. Nothing apparent on me. So this one need analyzing. So some event is have a quite clear purpose target. Some event happen. We need to analyze then know what impact, what action we're taking it. So your that event, some is for the incident or some like a store market, something happen. I already know at this price, I need to sell. At this price, I need to buy. So quite clear. But some event like this event coming, what you should do, then think about it. So different events, see which kind of event, but generally they can get all event in, do the analyze, make the decision, what you should do.
I mean, let's take incident as a simpler use case, right? Suppose you have given the app dynamics or Dynatrace. Dynatrace says that my server is down. So one event is triggered, the server is down. So how does the rule book analyze, okay, my XYZ server is down?
Yeah, correct. Negative is one. So maybe you previously have knowledge. If service down, what is possible reason? Maybe it's not really server down. It's a network issue. If a network issue, what it should go? Maybe it's this server is not really down. It's because it's workload too heavy.
Actually, in general, if it is app dynamics, Dynatrace, they will already be able to tell you certain issues, right? So let's say keep exhaustion, those kind of stuff. And they generally will be able to at least give you to a certain area of precision. You can base on that to try to narrow down. We are not saying that this will 100% fix all the problems. What we are saying is that this is like a map, right? It keeps becoming bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
So you start off with certain set of assumptions. It is like humans, right? We learn over time as well. So then this thing is supposedly going to become better over time, right? So that's kind of what we are driving at for
So
the
this one is doesn't say that replace your data tag or something. The maybe data tag can be one point is here. You go to here, I go to data tag, can see what information we get it, then decide what's the next step. But these two things is we start on unit, we have to grow bigger and bigger. We have separate place to manage, to store, to accumulate your knowledge.
So we need to have that specific rule book and the specific playbook for that event.
And in this case, we are actually leveraging on Cogito, right? Which is also something like a decision manager.
Maybe next I show you demo, you roughly
Yeah.
have some generic idea.
All these things have to come together, right? So Cogito, be it App Dynamics, Dana Trace, those are the things that's helping us to make a decision, right? And we use rulebook, we use playbook to perform the required actions. Okay, I'll let Jim continue because I know we are trying to do some labs as well.
Sure. So yeah, let me log into my server.
Jim, 5那个 form。
哦。This one is a Kafka. So let's start the Kafka event queue first.
I go to I compare.
Okay, Kafka is started. Let me check the zookeeper is started or not. Okay, zookeeper is also So here is Cogito. Cogito. So mainly I think is we need to use this one. Cogito and drill row.
This is also process. Did you see the list? Say good study right now. Ready to unveil producing. So process option is also there.
Okay, this one is start Ansible rulebook. Just now have question here is so this rulebook the main purpose is let's it listen on the queue and detect the correct detect correctly the event, click the right playbook. Okay, then we can simulate some event to the okay, then we'll use this one. So this one is the let's see, this is event, simulated event. So this simulated event C to A, the cost is 1. Sorry. Okay, you see, yeah, okay. These rulebook, they trigger the correct playbook to run it. So let's go to the picture. Let's go to the demo. You see, he find was the noise one is 6. Then from the J. Oh, sorry, this one is a complicated one. So this one, let me noding the new map. This one is a 9-node map. So when you know the new map is actually quite easier. So here is the map. So I knew this loading new map simply was a copy 4-node map. 4-node map to this file. Okay, then we can trigger again. Same event to trigger again. Let me see. This one. So this is map is a ABCD map. So ABCD map. So we can see the path is J to C, then C to A to B, then B to K. This is what I found is shortest one. So this would let's change the cost. So his things was go to this way. I mean from this way, upper way. So let's change this one, A to B to 2. See what happens. This simulate the event, detect the event. Actually, the real one, the event can come to any device, monitor things or something, any device. So natural A to B to 2. Okay. This is close to end. Yeah. Okay, this is new path they found it. What path they now is the J to C, C to D, D to B, then is the to K. So they still remain 4, but they select lower path. This is the event for the change, cost change, what happened. Next one, let's see it. Here, we don't have this path C to B. Assume this path now available. See what happened. So I build C to B, this path. In that case, in this picture. Our CTV, assume this is a new event finding. We send to the event queue. Let's think for a while, decided now what is the new path. Okay, this is okay, this bottom already. You see now they found it, the cost becomes 3. Just now you can remember it's 4. Then what is selected from J to C, C to B, B to K. Now it's needed the shortest path. So this one behind row is generic. So if, for example, some people will say too simple, then you make it complicated like this one. Like this one. This one, we only need to change data, input data, the initial map. Let's see what happened. Actually, just now already demo. Okay, the new mapping. New mapping, that was the okay, let me trigger one. For example, I trigger the anyone, make this event happen. P to C have P to C or B to C. Okay, we are using the same one. Okay, this is what happened. Is the so you can see now cost the 6. What they do it from the go to G, G to D, D to A, A to B, B to C, C to K is here. So let's do something change on the path A to B. But A to B we set at 2. See what happened. Okay, this what I found it, we increase this one. Just now they go to this way. Now is the go to here, they go to H. H to F. Okay, H to E, E to F, then to C to here. So they were select again. Actually, we can do quite a lot, but with we don't have so much time. This is generally show you is the how the behind to do it, and you can relate to this one. This one is we see have a new path building. This one is the test case. Just now is here.
If there are 2 paths with the same weightage, how does it decide?
They select anyone.
Just either so.
Anyone. Yeah. They each time they only give one solution, so you need to follow. But you can change multi. But most use case, the decision making they should. How to say that? You give more choice is the. They give the one possible one.
Sure.
Yeah. So this one is we talk about it is which kind of case is suitable for rule base. I want to say rule base is not silver bullet. We need to select suitable tools for suitable case, suitable issue. So what we think about it is just not like this kind of the problem in the demo. And this issue, what is the feature is that you are not be able to describe whole procedure step by step. Like this map, how you decided what is step by step. Now first is four node map. Next a 9-node map. How you describe this problem as step by step. So this kind of issue. Second issue is the diagnosis. What do we say? Diagnosis. So diagnosis is that if you ask the domain expert, he most likely they will not be able to tell you step by step until you resolve problem. The most likely will tell you, oh, this happened. Then what you should do? This happened, what should do? You want any step? No. So this one is easy for us to simulate. What is automation? Automation is simulate human organization to do things. If the human thinking this way, we better have some tools to follow to simulate such thinking. So this is one case. The next one is the conjunction various knowledge domain with the IT solution. So for example, some of the online version, we choosing the fast routing during the Christmas event. But was the selected chip is not in after office hour. But what the chip is? This is the business concept, not IT concept. Now where most automation also within IT domain, we easily integrate. But how about other domain knowledge? Is one place to integrate. Also for you, the data track. Data track, yeah. Data track output, how to was integrated with other troubleshooting. We need some place. They not replace the data track, but they help to integrate with other, I think widely. The last one is this kind of use case. And last one is the separate place to manage workflow instead of coding in the program or playbook itself. We talk about the programming or playbook method. One is most core is the modularize. To organize with the function. Or is objects object orientation programming. That is organized around the data. But where to have any place for the logic? It never logic inside the program itself. Never logic inside your playbook itself. But for the complicated, especially for the complicated logic use cases, if they change, you need to change the program itself. And you this thinking, you need people, underground people, the understanding configuration method, the understanding logic. But in my personal experience, a lot of time, the higher level manager or something, they have more clear on the logic. But ground engineer solve the problem, he more familiar configuration process. This gap is there. So if you integrate together, you need both people always together have same understanding, then we all put it inside program, put inside playbook. Difficult change, especially manager change idea. The ground engineer already struggle to get all the things done. We need to find some new tools to manage it. They have a separate idea. They separate familiar domains different. Do you have two tools to feed it? As that was say, automation is what? Simulation. Simulation your company organizing how to run it. Simulation your people how to think about it. If your nature, the problem nature is like that way, we need new tools to easily to simulate such nature inside, not twist it. Diagram, diagnosis, you can twist it step by step. Painful. All this kind of automation or something, see the nature of the problem. Then you select correct tools. So this is what I think about for all the role-based plus event, which kind of use case to go for it.
So we're just going to go with the hands-on lab. So you can go onto this link and you can launch your own environment So essentially what will happen is that if you click on this, it will redirect you to the event-driven Ansible web page. So all of you are able to use the environment for yourself. So what you have to do is just to click on the launch button. And so it will start to build an environment for you, and after which there will be a set of instructions that you can follow to work on it. Right? So let me just go back to here.
Want to write down the things.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll just wait for the environment to look for whoever wants to test it out, right? You can come over here, right? This environment is free for anyone to test it. It's very similar to our learn.openshift.com, whereby you can have your own environment to do testing. Over here, this is really helping you with understanding the event-driven Ansible portion, and you can try out. There are 3 scenarios inside. You know, you can either do it tonight. I know we are kind of nearly at time, right? Or that you can actually do it whenever you have time, right? So the environment will be up for a while, and you can test it.
I think with that, we also can take any questions you guys have as well regarding meeting with Ansible or even today's topic for event-driven automation as well.
So each diagnosis of weightage is done by individual playbook. So rulebook execute the playbook to do the weightage.
No, this weightage is the how to say that is a provided all the different possibility. Like just now say, if for example online online vendor, if the one was a fast one, this weightage was maybe is the cost maybe is necessary. Then you maybe have behind have how to calculate and see or direct get from the network device.
But
But
just
you-
now your slide says execute playbook to diagnose. And then determine.
Correct. So it's this one is the you saw here. You saw here. This one is the you saw here. This is the cost we put in, right? Here is the only simple one, but in the real world, this cost can be separated algorithm to calculate it. So maybe based, for example, if the really maybe based on the traffic, based on the wide of the road or anything, these kind of things, then to calculate what is your consideration. Based on your consideration, calculate the cost. Cost here only digit, but behind the meaning can be different.
Can you take a look at the the rule book for the simple use case so we can understand?
Rule book, right?
So was there just one rule book which executed both these scenarios, the 4 and the 9?
Rule book, you mean the Ansible rule book?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And let me stop. This is a rule book. This is a rule book. So rule book, he is the two event. One event is this one have update. Cost different and new have coming. If you define one, they immediately call this one. This one. This one is go to the raw engine to do the new analyzing. Another one is that if they receive the cloud funding, new routing funding, they maybe was then is the then for this one. This is the dummy one. They maybe give the user advice or do some the new routing configuration and so on. So this one is the keep listening. Here is the keep listening on this one. Yeah, he immediately detect these two. These two, I need to take action. Maybe have a lot of event, but these two for this rulebook, they only listen these two.
Can we adjust the frequency of the listening from the Ansible config?
So far,
And how frequent? By
yeah,
the way,
because
how
was
frequent?
I frankly I'm not be able to answer you this question because this one is not GA yet. Not yet, but was based on what they say is, I don't know the frequency, but they say is the online always listen to that.
Event driven architecture is supposed to be always.
Always, yes, but how
How
frequent?
frequently?
Yeah,
We need to check it. We need to check it. Yeah.
because the number of frequency, depending on the web hosting, they charge by traffic, right? So if you keep, if there's no activity and you keep sending the traffic. the
Oh,
bill-
this one is you can define the own topic. Yeah, just not you see this one. You see this one. You see, oh, I send this one only to this topic. So you see this topic name. So is here we was only listen on this topic. So you can define it. So this channel I only allow which kind event coming. Like this one is only this one is the when you send the event, you need to define which was the event you want to send to separate the event. This answer your question? This one. Yeah. This one all set one
Yeah,
don't
that's
together. I will keep it as simple as possible.
We can train Cogito as per our requirement. And in this example, you are taking example of subnet. We can take other use case and train that.
Correct. Okay. So is the you can because this one we only using this as a as the one use case. Actually, for the role-based system have a multi way to write the role. So the role-based system is made easy for us to simulate human thinking. So is that we don't need hard coding this kind of knowledge inside the playbook or something. We have separated to easily to simulate human thinking. Yes, especially as just I mentioned, some a lot of the use case, if it not is a procedural step by step traditional will handle. But how about others?
Actually, this is just one possibility. We are showing Cogito, but that's just one of those things that can be done. We can have many
As per
different
requirement.
things that fit this. For example, in real life example, like we can tell him that check whether the network is up or not. If network is up, whether database is up or not. And based on that, give the decision whether system is down or it's a fake alert. Right. So go to the real life example, which we're going to implement in the system.
Yeah, correct.
Those things are possible, right? So one of those things that we were mentioning earlier is just a more simplified way of looking at a whole thing, but obviously there can be many paths and we reach a final decision based on.
So it's also like this and case. We are immediately studied always one.
Yeah.
But maybe in your environment, that work is more frequently. So there maybe the weightage maybe drops. So that's maybe the first checking. But this is start point. This one can with your time evolve to tooling to extend, make it more suitable for your environment.
Or that if you're using things like App Dynamics, Dynatrace, and or other AI ops tools, for instance, it can also be integrated with Ansible,
Correct.
right? So that itself also has its own knowledge base, so you can target the stuff easier.
Yeah. So you have a new troubleshooting tools coming, easy to integrate together. You don't need to change your current existing playbook now. You easily to integrate together. Maybe this one is better source.
Sure.
Right.
We are illustrating the possibilities with the tools that helps you in this area. That's kind of where we are coming from.
Yeah.
So we are not saying that it has to be Cogito, it has to be Kafka, it has to be what. It's just a possibility.
For a possible example, you have shared.
Correct. And this thing is evolving, right? Like what we mentioned, this is not GA. This is still being worked on by the community. So a lot of people are still contributing to it and trying to see how this thing can look like in the final form, or to continue to improve with all these different integrations that we're having. Right. So that is kind of the direction that we're heading. You're right, definitely, right? Pre-health checks, we have a lot of different tasks that we are looking at before we drill down to where it is, or we see an alert, what might be causing it, based on different signatures. So those are the things that can form maybe this, all this map that we're talking about over here.
And each has their own point.
Right. So that's just like you can even branch out to different possibilities. We are showing a more simplistic view of the whole thing. Definitely a real production network will look much more complex than this. Because if we go too complex, then it's very difficult to kind of grasp that.
Yeah, to
concept.
understand it will be.
Yes. The whole idea is make it such that it's easy to consume.
I was thinking of one use case, right? It's called knowledge base building up. Let's say example, right? We usually in any IT system or any system, right? You constantly build up root cause analysis. Because let's say like certain engineers came up, let's say this thing failed, that thing failed. What is his recovery plan? So usually we document it. And the action, what he do to recover system. I was thinking to build this kind of root cause analysis, right, into event-driven report output, so that new engineer who took over, right, certain common scenario happened, but he doesn't know what to possible because he didn't know that actually, the forecast state, because nobody read the forecast one usually. It's like archive. But I was thinking to build this manual forecast, right, into rule-based, into this event-driven, so that this scenario happened, it came out with an event report to tell the new engineer, actually, this is what you should do.
Correct. That is a
You shorten the SLA.
that is a quite a good point, because this one is how to say that if you hard coding in the program or something inside it, one is not so visible for the new engineer. Second thing, that only this event happened, they can show it. This one different. This one just now you see, I using the command to simulate the event to even see what happening inside. So this one is quite as a simulation tools. Simulate. If this kind of event happen, then what is the troubleshooting path? They print here.
Maybe print the steps instead of putting the manual.
Correct.
Nobody
So here-
will. I realize that you can archive a lot of
Correct.
procedure steps, right?
So you see here, let me go up for you. You see here. Actually, this can treat as the troubleshooting path. Then J, maybe you have other addiction tell you what's in J. What in J. So we can simulate it. You don't need to really even having you simulate send event in. They will trigger to analyze and tell you the result. Then you can twist it. Oh, this one I was a new troubleshooting. This one is no, not this one. Then we increase it. See what is next possible? The root cause this issue. So this one is the how to say the reason don't like this is don't like I tell them is troubleshooting a troubleshooting book. It is more close to really what happened. It's more because people I think maybe cause more interesting for junior engineer. The real case happen. Real case happen based on the previous senior engineer the knowledge. How they do troubleshooting, what they thinking.
So if suppose we are already using Ansible as the automation solution and we want to adopt this, so we have to modify all the existing automation.
Not really, right? That's why we break out the rule books. The rule books is on its own. You still call the same playbooks that you
All that playbook.
correct.
Yeah.
You will create new sets of playbooks.
So
most
like
probably.
you mentioned that the hard coding in the playbook, right?
The hard coding in the playbook.
Maybe hard coded currently in the playbook. That needs to be.
Yeah, he was talking about the fact that you can move some of the logic out,
No.
Yeah.
which is going to be useful because whenever we have new things, we can refactor. So we do it in a more efficient fashion.
If you ask me personally, I personally suggesting if you there, next you only handle has quite a complicated logic. For example, I have one customer asked me, the workflow quite long and complicated. Then they put it into production, they found it in the real production environment, here have broken, there have broken. There's the issue. So then they need to rerun. But now currently was the most time the field requires to rerun the disk. But this case is complicated. This task fail, he need to go back to some other task, from some other task to rerun again. Each different fail point, but maybe go to different point to rerun. You think about it, if you current method, your process how complicated? What is your maintain cost? In this kind of complicated scenario, you think about it, you have other way to do it. Maybe always open up other door for us. So this fail, this task fail, then run which task. And from that point, you start it. So maybe you can simply, when the fail, you simply redirect to some other place to start it. Not like now, simply rerun the task itself. Maybe other that customer making it more complicated. This kind of rerun doesn't over 3 times. So if new method will try to handle the new issue. The old one, what else?
So any clue how this rulebook will be incorporated into AAP?
It's coming in the next release. So probably middle of the year, another few more months, it will be inside.
Right now it is I think download as a separate package.
Yes.
Right, from our current repository that we give with our subscription. So most likely once if it GAs, will probably be part of that particular repo, then you can start.
It will be the plan is to integrate it within the next 3 to 6 months.
I think if you look at our like for example our mesh, the automation mesh, right? It took a while to also come to this state where now it has a UI where you can look at the particular mesh nodes. Previously there wasn't even a UI itself. So probably I think once it's GA, then you have a better idea. And maybe we'll probably update you guys as well along the way once things has probably move on towards the
It's already in the developer preview in 2.3.
Not in 2.3. Right now we are 2.3, right? So we should wait for 2.4.
Instead in the slide.
So this you can install. So you can install separately outside of AAP.
So right now it's a separate package outside of
separate. Correct. That's what Jing has done. Right? So basically it's outside. You can use this CLI base basically. We will integrate it so that it will be part of the UI.
So tentatively, I think what we are hearing is during Ansible Fest, we'll probably have a much more updated version of this. Ansible Fest is around.
It's around. I mean, as in usually, but this time not to be with the summit. So it's probably May, June period. The summer in US. That's what will happen.
And Cogito is the upstream for decision management, Red Hat decision.
Right. That's correct. We are just using this as an example to showcase. Obviously, it can be something else. Doesn't have to be Cogito. Okay. I don't know whether you guys managed to bring up the environment. I know we are kind of out of time as well, but pretty much if you're able to get your own instance, you'll be able to kind of use this, like follow events and all these things for testing. Right, so you kind of follow through the instructions. It's quite easy to understand. Give it a shot. I know it's late now, right? If there is any things that you guys are not, able to get it done, you can leave a message at the Meetup group chat. We will try to answer. Or that, I think you know us as well. Just look for us.
This will be available to us.
It is actually available to the public. We are just the initial intention of this session is to kind of go through some of this. But I know we have a pretty good discussion. Actually, I think it's more valuable than just going through this thing. So, just feel free, just go to this link, right? In fact, the whole link is this. It's a bit small. You may not be able to see, but it's something that you can just test it yourself. 3 very simple scenarios. One of those things set up the Kafka that Jim was showing earlier as well. It's just to let you see how things works. When you have something that goes to message, you get picks up, and after that, we perform a quick action. Right. So pretty intuitive, pretty easy to follow. Right. Any questions? Let us know. And yep, you know, you can try anytime. Any other questions? I know we are about 15 minutes after 8 p.m. So just want to make sure that we are not holding everyone up. Anything, Jim? Okay. Hey, thank you everyone for coming tonight. Good night. Thank you. Thank you.
我很没有早起。